if I saw another day, only to scream into the night. Nothing ever tries to change, even if I want to realize. 'Cause I've been sitting here, same old ways, taking off without the same escape. Darling, where you going? It won't be as simple for you.
Yo guys. Oh man, my internet is being very brickish. I apologize. Sorry about that. It's on my G. Everything was set up. It was set up fine, and now it's just being absolutely brickish. I'm sorry, guys. It's old man G here. Sorry.
Backstage, it was fine. I can't. What is
I
going
know
on?
exactly. I tested it. It was fine. Everything was okay, and then like literally, as I'm about to make the transition, it just ends up being brickish. So I apologize to everyone, man. Sorry for that. Like we did test it beforehand. I don't know what's going on, but I think things are a little bit. I think things are a bit better now, anyway. So, is everyone? Can everyone hear me? Everyone see us? All good? Just let us know in the comments. Okay, cool. Right. Okay. Sorry about that. Let's get into the show. Actually, so I'm joined by Eddie. This is our basically best United number 7 reaction. Remember, guys, if you're new to the channel, remember to like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Twitter, United X. Make sure you obviously check out Eddie's Football Waffles channel. The link is in the description, so please head over and subscribe and support your boy Eddie. Eddie, bro, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. I'm always, grateful for the invites. Big up to your last show where you had the manager debate with Pep versus the great Sir Alex. So hopefully we do some justice to this best number 7 debate. Other than that, I'm doing all right, bro. Thanks.
Cool. And I shout out to everyone who's watching in the chat. Remember to like the vid, guys. I'll quickly go for a few comments before we get involved. I'll obviously try and put a poll in the chat as well, just with a few names to who people think their best number 7 is. Samasi, thank you as a member of the show. And shout out to all the members, by the way, and thank you for those who were part of the members hangout. It was really, really fun. Interesting debates and conversations, and we will obviously get to it. Samara says, I think Cantona was the first superstar of the Premier League, and that is a fair point. Chainsaw says, big up artists and Eddie. Remember to like and sub to both channels. Thank you, bro. Chainsaw also says, Ronaldo is the best United talent ever. The disrespect he gets now is insane. Niall Kane says, yes, big up Red Devil and Eddie. Yes. Samasi, Bex was just a one-trick pony. Ooh, interesting.
Wow,
okay,
that's harsh.
And now Epic member stream last night. Enjoyed one. Yeah, it was a very, very good stream. It was a very, very good member stream. I loved it, actually. A lot of great stuff. And we're hopefully being a regular occurrence, man. So let's get into it. Obviously, this is a Saturday night show, and we are here to talk about, the best Manchester United number 7s, at least in our opinion. And I think the best thing really to do is we're going to try and go through a few names, and to be honest, there's not that many. I think our show next week on the worst number 7s, there's a lot of names, but I think the best could probably be narrowed down to quite a handful. And I think you obviously have to start off with the superstar, that is, Cristiano Ronaldo. Yes. I mean, I'll give it to the floor, Eddie. What do you think that Ronaldo achieved at, and is obviously achieving at Manchester United, that puts him in the conversation as being like the best, United number 7?
I mean, if we're going to go in depth, I was just trying to make some notes before the stream because I was like looking at different things. There's so many different factors. I mean, you have to weigh up the attributes, you have to weigh up the consistency of those attributes, and then take that over the long period to decide whether they had longevity, amount of trophies, versatility as well, like seeing if they can play different positions. So with Ronaldo, for attributes, he was ticking a lot of boxes, man. I mean, the speed he used to have, the dribbling, all those tricks. He had a good cross on him. I mean, I'm just looking at his stats for Man United, and he got 102 goals, 37 assists in 226 appearances. So that's like, almost, he'll be getting like a goal involvement almost every game. So, you know what I mean? It puts him in there. The amount of trophies, you have to remind me how many trophies he won there. I mean, there's at least a couple of Premier Leagues, right? Champions League.
Yeah.
What else was there? Was there FA Cup in there somewhere?
Yes, sure. He definitely won. Oh, actually, did he win the FA Cup?
I'd like to say he did, but I can't remember.
He was definitely part of the, and I will go back, but he was definitely part of the duo, obviously, the duo Champions League, where he won the Premier League and Ligue 1, and as well as that treble winning sort of team that won the Premier League 3 seasons in a row. So he definitely has 3 Premier Leagues, as well as obviously the Champions League as well. I will actually double check that actually. So
well, while you're checking that, I mean, you also have to weigh up, the clutch level of Ronaldo as well. One particular goal that comes to me is the one in the Champions League final against Chelsea, that header. That I just always remember. I mean, apart from John Terry slipping over in the penalty shootout, I just always remember that final for that header. It was just like, it's just textbook Ronaldo, that power, the agility and accuracy. So the only thing that's going against him for me is just that longevity in terms of playing for the club for more than, because I think it was 4 seasons was he there. I think, I'm not sure if he reached that 5th season. I think it was because he had the start of season where he was young, wasn't quite good, and then he had like 3 seasons at his peak, innit?
So I have the transfer market like app up, and shout out to all those who are watching. By the way, I'll get to comments in a second. Although if you want me to read your comment out, give a super chat, and I'll get to it obviously quickly. So his stats. So I've got his stats at Manchester United and Manchester United trophy wise. Player of the year 3 times in a row. So 06 to 07, 08. Obviously won the FIFA Club World Cup in 2008. He 3 times, so he won the Premier League 3 times. So that was the sort of the 07, 08, and 09, obviously before he left. He did win the FA Cup once in 2004. He won obviously the League Cup 09 and 06. And then Super Cup, which is like the Charity Shield 2 times in a row. And then the Champions League, of course, once. So yeah, those are all the trophies that he won at Manchester United. Yeah.
So what is that, about 8 trophies? So I lost count there. About 7.
Yeah. So in terms of all trophies, including the Charity Shield, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's including the Charity Shield and of course the Super Cup. So yeah, 10 trophies. Yeah.
And is it 4 seasons that he had as well? Just to check.
He was. I'll just double check how many seasons he was at.
Because we have to weigh up that longevity, because that could be two cups a season, that's not bad, is it? So
Exactly. He came at if I remember. He came in I think he came in 04.
Yeah.
Because if he won the English FA Cup in 2004. So he came in 04. So I think he was there. He was there, although he wasn't involved in the main team. So he was there for 04 to 09. So yeah, 6 seasons. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So at least 4 of them, he was at his prime.
Yeah.
So really, I mean, what else is there to say about Ronaldo's time at Man United? We discussed the cups. I mean, what about style? Does style really come into it? I mean, it doesn't really.
Well, you got to take into account that, like, when he was at United, he played predominantly as a winger, as opposed to a number 9, which he came in. So, as a winger, he although also Massey says 14 trophies to Beckham. That is true. That is true. And
Yeah, but then
Beckham,
he had more longevity. That's the thing. This is why it
mm,
makes it a hard
mm,
debate. He was there
mm,
for ages, isn't it? His whole career
mm,
there. I mean, just looking at, I mean, we're saying Ronaldo wasn't even playing striker. 102 goals and 226 appearances. That's better
mm,
than a lot of strikers' ratios
mm,
anyway. You know,
mm, mm,
the
mm,
standard would be getting a goal every 2 appearances for a prime striker or just a standard striker. And he was
mm,
getting that from the wing.
mm,
So that really, you know, that really puts Ronaldo ahead of a lot of sevens, you know,
mm, mm,
those
mm.
kind of goals. Because what was Beckham's return in goals? I mean, I've got the stats here actually. In terms of
Okay.
goals for Beckham, I mean, just to touch him a little bit, 62 goals in
Mm.
265 appearances. That's not bad, but it's not as good as Ronaldo.
No.
80 assists. We've got to look at assists as well. Like
Mm.
Ronaldo, like if we look at it, Ronaldo's assists were, I would say it was fairly low for a winger. If you
Yes.
look at it.
Yeah.
37,
Yeah.
37 assists and 226 appearances. What is that like? One every my maths is off right now. One every 6 games or something like that.
Yeah.
So you can see from the early points of his career, he was always wanted to get the goals. He was always going to be that guy.
Yeah.
You know, the overall it's goal involvements that matter. So he's
Yeah.
one of the top guys, man. But in terms of longevity, that's the thing that works against him. Is, you know, even though he's had like, what is it, 5 seasons there or 6 seasons, but we're saying, what was it, about 4 at his prime? Yeah, it works against him. Like if we're going to talk about Beckham later on, that was going to work against him a little bit.
Fine. Fine. I mean, you know, I certainly think that you obviously have to look at, uh, I guess, not just the not just the goals and assists, but obviously the nature of those goals and assists. So
Yeah,
how sort of, like, basically clutchness, you know, clutchness, like how clutch was he actually for Manchester United, if that makes any sense, you know. So how
yeah,
important did he show up in those right moments, if that makes sense?
yeah. I mean, like I was saying, I don't know if it's poor memory right now, but I'm just remembering the Champions League final, like I said, where he got that header, which obviously contributed to United winning that Champions League against Chelsea.
Mm,
I mean, can you think of any more clutch goals that he's got?
right.
I just remember like just great goals, like, you know,
He did
some of
score.
the
He did score in the Champions League final against Chelsea.
yeah, that header. Is that the
Yeah,
one
so
I'm
that
talking
was
about?
so that obviously was important. That was important.
Yeah.
Although obviously went still into penalties, but yeah, he scored a CL final goal. You know, which certain players that are deemed better, i.e. Eden Hazard, have not done. So you know that's important.
I
But
just remember he would show up for games. Another one's coming to me where, remember when United were, was it 2-1 down to Villa? Um,
mm,
and then remember Makeda was playing in that game too. He
mm,
got a
mm,
goal. Ronaldo got a goal for 2-2, I think, and then Makeda got
mm,
the goal for 3-2. So
mm,
obviously, you know, we wouldn't have won that game if Ronaldo didn't get a goal in that game too, and then that led to us winning the Premier League as well. I remember that was a big defining game. If United would have lost that game to Villa, I'm sure they wouldn't have won the league. But you have to
okay.
chase the stats on that. But I remember that being a big game. I don't know what season it was. But do you remember that game against Villa where Makeda got
Uh,
his goal? But
was
Ronaldo
that
scored in that game too.
was it 07-08?
It could have been because I think,
Okay.
isn't that when
Mm.
we had Tevez and Rooney? It was like it
Yeah.
was them two up front. Was that 07 or
Yeah.
yeah. So that's another clutch game where he showed up. I think there's several more, you know, but like we're going back quite a few years, isn't it? Really, it's hard to like just pick out those highlights.
Mm.
Uh,
Let me quickly, just before I answer, Ari, let me quickly look in just read the comments just to see what people's thoughts are. Um, SMB says, "Yo, what's up? What's up, buddy?" Samasi says, "Are we talking now or with 2003, 2009? Now, what's that in relation to? You mean
Ronaldo?
Oh, so Ronaldo. So you mean like, yeah? I think it will just be his entire, obviously, contribution to Manchester United. So yeah, that does include what he's been doing now as a current player as well. SMB, Antonio Valencia and Alexis Sanchez, best number 7. Who else? Michael Owen, and then Memphis. We'll have a worse.
Sorry, I was almost close to spitting out my drink on that comment just before that one about Alexis Sanchez. Like that's going to be on your worst number 7s for sure.
There's definitely going to be a there's a list. There's definitely there's a list. There's a big list of flops since Ronaldo basically left, because there were a lot of flops since he left, and then obviously since he came back, you know. So Unique M Nasir, who's come on Facebook, thank you, Chief. First, Cristiano Ronaldo. Second, Michael Owen. I'm not sure what you're smoking, bro, but okay. Third, David Beckham. Fourth, Alexis Sanchez.
I mean, is that a real comment though? Because like, there's 2 in there that are credible, but then Michael Owen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if you're still watching, bro. Like, you need to clarify this comment, because I can already think of 3 or 4 United number 7s that are better than Alexis Sanchez. I guess they were before the Premier League era, but even still, even if you Google what they achieved, you know, they have to go over them. They have to. It just is what it is. So just give me to charge my laptop. 1 second.
But there's loads that can get in over Sanchez. Like I'm even thinking about Obertan. I reckon Obertan can get in over Sanchez in
many. There are many. There are many that can get over him. It's not even funny. It's really not.
Because if I remember right, Sanchez was injured half the time, wasn't he, as well? And then
I mean, he said ahead of time that he didn't even want to play for the club. Like I think something like he got to training and then realized that he made like a mistake. And it's like, well, like so you came for money, and then you're like, oh, I made a mistake. It's like, okay, bro, like you know,
that's just. Come on, you're getting enough money. You should just suck it up. You don't need to even come out with that kind of thing, man.
SME says, I remember the Di Maria era. Getting some super chats in to go to them.
Yeah, it's free kicks. Man. When they came off, they were good, but it was scored like 1 in 50, wasn't he?
So Factor says, I don't know whether you submitted this twice, because it's the same super chat. So thanks, buddy. I made that my mistake. I don't know. How about Captain Marvel? Even Fergie said he was his best captain. Captain Marvel.
Is that Cantona? I don't know the Marvel.
That's Cantona, because we have just been talking about Ronaldo, but we are going to talk about some other names, and Cantona is going to come into that. But Captain, or unless you mean, I don't think it's Bryan Robson. I don't think it's Bryan Robson.
Well, he was 7.
Yeah, Bryan Robson. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, Bryan Robson. I'm gonna talk a bit about Bryan Robson. That was just before my era, but I have watched him. So Bryan Robson, you know, I in fact probably at the end of this we're going to like rank the top 5, I think, and he will certainly come into that conversation, because yeah, I definitely think that Bryan Robson is definitely a good shout. Yeah, shout out to you, Faxos. Thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. It goes a long way for this channel.
Robson's before my time as well, man. Like, you know, I'll leave it to you to analyze them if we're going to talk about.
So let's quickly move on to, because obviously we talked about Ronaldo mostly. I guess we're just going based on recency bias to a certain extent, but I still think it's worth talking about obviously older players. But we briefly mentioned him, obviously David Beckham. David Beckham, obviously part of the treble winning side, also part of the part of that sort of class of 92. Well, he wasn't part of the class of 92, but he came in the midst of that. and was part of the United squad that obviously won 3 Premier Leagues in a row as well as the treble. I mean, for me, I think that with Beckham, as for watching him, I think the big thing for Beckham that probably has him above all the other United's number 7s, including Ronaldo, is his free kicks. He was a master free kick specialist. Like, even, sorry, Ronaldo, I don't think has ever been. Yeah, he scored a few good ones, but in terms of a specialist, a free kick specialist, that goes to David Beckham. Like, he was criminally underrated when it came to his free kicks, to be honest, you know, amongst other
People
things.
underrated him, really. I mean, he's got the record for the most Premier League free kicks, you know. Can't underestimate that.
No, exactly. But I think it's just that people, because he wasn't stylish, I think a lot of people are now sort of looking back at Beckham's legacy and go, well, what did David Beckham really achieve? That type of thing. But, you know, so I think we're underrating him now. Sorry?
I was just saying he was technically sound, so I don't really get that argument. And if you want to just talk about style in general, I mean, come on, the guy before Pogba, this was the guy setting trends for hairstyles, haircuts, all this kind of stuff. Right? So, you know, I mean, the guy had style.
He was definitely, I think he was definitely what I would call the first celebrity footballer.
Yeah.
In terms of big celebrity football. And in fairness to him, you know, unlike a lot of footballers that, you know, whatever you say about him, I think he's an intelligent guy. Because unlike other footballers that they go for a little bit, and then as soon as they finish football, they don't really know what to do with themselves. They either go into management or they, or they try and extend their careers, or they just fall off the deep end. Beckham really made himself. I know this is not a footballing thing, but Beckham really made himself into a superstar. Like he became a brand. Like the Beckham is a brand, you know. So even till this day, you know, I don't know many footballers that own or football clubs, let alone create football clubs like Beckham has done with brand Beckham. You know, it probably helps as well that like someone had minimal scandal issues, or at least he's elevated himself so he's beyond that. But you know, whatever you say about his football ability, like he's certainly one of the most, I think, intelligent footballers in terms of how he was able to transition from being a footballer to actually maintaining a level of business acumen and legacy that he's now able to sort of create that, quite frankly, a lot of footballers just can't do.
I mean, doesn't he have that that academy for like training the youth as well as you said owning a football club, right? He has like I remember seeing it on, I don't know if it's on TV or YouTube, but he was just like there at his academy, and the youth were just learning, and you know what I mean, like you're saying, he's got the business sense to reach out to youth development, which is a big thing, you know, because obviously you got to refresh the generations of people coming through. So what better than to try and pass on? Because Beckham used to be one of the best guys in terms of staying behind after hours and training, putting the practice on the pitch. So it made sense for him to open up academies to train people, and like you said, having like football clubs. Yeah, he's probably one of the best businessmen I've seen. You know, he's not. Yeah, you're saying like he's not really had scandals or anything. Like he's not been like what do you call it, smeared in terms of you know, just being unprofessional. Because I just think of people like Neymar and Pogba, like you always, maybe it's the media's fault too. Maybe they start agendas too, but yeah, for the most part, Beckham's got a good record off the pitch, man.
No, exactly. I think the thing is that it's just that he, you know, a lot of it is about thinking also about what you're going to be doing after football. Now, obviously, this is a football channel, so we're talking about the game, and I think that Beckham achieved. I mean, okay, this Real Madrid moved maybe not as much, even though he won a title there. And obviously went to AC Milan, PSG. So as a Brit, going abroad and experiencing different, I think that also probably helped in that he went to play for Madrid for a bit. He went to go and play for Milan. He then went to go and obviously play for PSG. So he went essentially around Europe and gained that experience. I think a lot of English players just don't do that. And so I think they lose the ability to create connections, further their brand, and they just focus on just, you know, made in Britain, if that makes any sense. But like I said, as a footballer, for me, Beckham was technically, I think, was especially now, I think has been underestimated technically as a footballer. And you know, if it wasn't for the bust up with Fergie, you don't know what he would have been able to achieve. You know, staying, you know, that like him becoming bigger than that was the thing. You know, and Fergie wouldn't tolerate that. I mean, in fact, actually, do you think that Fergie was wrong to do what he did?
I was just about to say I miss the old days of a general, because that's what Sir Alex Ferguson was. I mean, we could go into loads of different examples of him just taking this team through the mud. I mean, the way the Glazers starved him for cash and he was able to get to finals with Park, Giggs, 40-year-old Giggs in midfield. I mean, going back to Beckham though, it's like, yeah, he saw that there could be a problem there, or it was a problem in terms of someone's brand getting in the way, a player possibly having too much limelight, so it could be a distraction. And then he just went, okay, I want to do what's best for the team, regardless of money, because obviously Man United may have lost some revenue in terms of sponsorship. I don't know how that stuff works, but you know, when you lose a player with a big brand, you lose money, don't you? Even though they made money off the transfer fee. But anyway, just trying to answer the point properly. Sir Alex is one of the old-fashioned coaches that was allowed to focus on that football for what he could control. He controlled it. He wasn't a yes man. For the most part, he wasn't. I mean, the Glazers did their best to mess him up, you know, and make him say things like "there's no value in the market." I really hated when that happened, you know, because that's when you knew Sir Alex wasn't being backed, you know. Because remember when it was all those seasons where we couldn't find a midfielder, and it was like, come on, there was midfielders in the market, there was value in the market. It's just Glazers must not have kept up the funds. But anyway, just to finish off, I like that. I like that Sir Alex put the football first, because after he went, Man United was still successful. It's not like they fell off, you know. There was still success after Beckham. So yeah, it was the right decision in hindsight.
Fair. Chainsaw, I think, said that he's had scandals with media protecting for obvious reasons. Yeah, that's fair. Although I still think that you still have, in order to do what you do, there still has to be an element of like acumen to do what Beckham has, to create this sort of the empire that he's created. You know, because these days, especially because back then you wouldn't have had all of the like Neymar now, for example. You look at the documentary, you see he's got a marketing manager, he's got all these different people that basically manage his brand. Back when Beckham was doing it, like, those footballers didn't have those things back then. You didn't have those. Like, you just, obviously, okay, Twitter and social media wasn't there, but you didn't have that. So in order to do that, it really was on you to be able to sort of market yourself as someone beyond football. So and kudos, he did that. SMB says stats and trophies only take you so far. Mawada says Beckham is underage nowadays. No fear fact. Every free kick or corner was a nightmare for opponents. To be honest, I would take a David Beckham in this Manchester United team any day. Someone who's great with set pieces, free kicks. I would take a David Beckham. I
would take David Beckham now. How old is he? What, 40 something? I'll take him now at right wing.
14 trophies for Beckham. So in fact, let me going back to the stats. Let me actually have a. I should probably go and actually introduce the player stats. So I apologize, guys, for ching. I'll be a lot more organized in future shows. So I'm just going to have a quick look for. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments as well, guys. Like, who do you think? We obviously talked about Beckham and Ronaldo. Now we're probably going to a certain Frenchman next. So looking at.
I got some stats up now, RDS, so I can actually go through.
Go on. Okay.
So just in terms of assists, 80 assists, goals, 62, appearances, 265. So that's 142 goal involvements in 265 appearances. That's pretty good, man. That's really good. It's like that's over one every 2 games. Right?
Yes.
In terms of
his assist ratio is obviously far. That's why, like, you know, when people think those numbers on the wasn't think Ronaldo, but the reality, as you said, is that like Beckham had the longevity United and for his position, like he was he was solid in his position. You know,
Yeah.
he was 6-time English champion. So he won it in 96, 97, 99, 2000, 2001, and 2003. Obviously, won the Champions League in 1999. He two-time English FA Cup, so won it twice. The Charity Shield 4 times, Intercontinental Cup, which is like basically the equivalent of the Super Cup, World Cup, sorry, once. And yeah, that's it. Never won the League Cup though. And obviously he had the respective achievements for Real Madrid and PSG respectively. But
Right.
you can't dismiss it. You know, you can't dismiss it.
Yeah, I mean, just for staying on Man United, the Man United honours. So 6 Premier League titles, 2 FA Cups, 4. I mean, are we going to count Community Shields, man? I don't count that as a one game. I mean, come on. So really, I'm looking at his Premier League titles, FA Cups, Champions League. So that's like 9 trophies there. In what? How many years at Man United? Maybe 12, 13. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's almost like winning like a trophy every season. So yeah, in terms of longevity, he's up there. And then if we're gonna like just to quickly compare him to Ronaldo, I mean, I obviously Beckham beats him on free kicks. Like maybe we could have done like maybe just like a head-to-head looking at attributes, because Ronaldo would beat Beckham on a lot of other things in terms of speed, dribbling. You know, Beckham, he could. I remember he could get past certain players, but it'd be like, it wouldn't be like that's the guy that you look at to beat players like a Ryan Giggs. It would be like he'd pass first before dribble. So he was very technical, good passer. The crossing, I mean, as well as free kicks, there's got to be a stat of like maybe like the best free kicks, because best crosses. Sorry. Like sometimes you can put in like a great cross and someone just misses the target with like connecting on it. It's like I would love to see a stat for just, you know, a great attempted crosses, because Beckham would be at the top with that stat, surely. Like I remember seeing highlights of him. His crossing ability is just like, it was the best. It was the best. The weight of the cross, the spin on the ball, everything. You could see that he practiced that. You could see he practiced crossing and free kicks like for like a long time after training, because he was the best kind of guy, best technical guy. But overall on David Beckham, I would just say that it's a shame that he didn't have the speed and the dribbling, because if he had that, I would probably put him as like the best number 7. But you know, he's a human, and he can't be the best at everything.
Fair. Let's quickly move on now. Before we get to the Frenchman, I thought we'd take a brief pit stop to one guy who, at least I think for one season, was a good number 7 and then just disappeared. But the irony is that that's still better than a lot of Manchester United number 7s. And I want to quickly go to Edinson.
Oh,
no, Edinson, because obviously this season he was not great. Let's keep it a stack. But for last season, for what he did in the number 7 top, and this is saying something, because I still think that he ranks higher for that one season than the likes of Owen, Memphis, Di Maria, Alexis Sanchez, and so on, and the list goes on. So if we just look at this individual season for Edinson, even though I don't think you can say he's the best, but I just thought for the sake of conversation.
So the season you were talking about was when we finished second, right?
Yes, that season, yeah. And obviously Europa League final, but he couldn't play because he was injured, which was painful, to be honest.
Sorry, wait, hold on. Europa League final, you saying he was injured for that?
He wasn't. Well, no. Oh no, he wasn't injured for that. He was playing.
Yeah, I remember him playing.
The goal. He scored the final goal. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, my bad. Yeah. So even more so.
I mean, all I remember of Cavani in that game, because Man United they didn't know what to do in possession, because Villarreal just parked the bus, and they just contained Man United. All I saw was obviously he did more than what I'm about to say, but I remember him tracking back when Villarreal had a counter attack. Obviously, he got the goal as well, but it was like did some tracking back and tried to do like what Pogba should have been doing in terms of covering. Like so that brings me to a point of like he was good in terms of like his work rate. Yeah, like running, he ran about a lot. We'll say that. But I don't know if you got his stats though for that season, like, in terms of goals. I'd like to see that.
I'm going to quickly get, because in terms of goals and appearances, I'll get Cavani stats out for that season before we move on to a certain Frenchman. So look, transfer. I usually go to use transfermarket.com.
Yeah, I use that as well. They're pretty good for stats. And
yeah,
Wikipedia, you can't go wrong with them. Well, sometimes you can, but you know, for the most part.
Because people, especially when Messi wins Ballon d'Or or Ronaldo does something, people just like to just edit things.
Yeah, it's true.
You're like, guys, relax. It's really not that. It's really not that big of a deal. Right. So let's go by club. So okay. So for United, I mean, okay, but this is in total 59 appearances, 19 goals, 7 assists, and 6 yellow cards. I think if we go by season,
so wait, that's 16 goal involvements in 59 appearances. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this is why stats can lie, because he did work hard in a lot of games. But I still say the stats don't sound good, do they? They don't really sound good.
Not particularly. I mean, you know, he didn't. From what I can tell, like I don't think he scored in the Champions League for Manchester United either. Although he did score 6 goals in the Europa League in that campaign.
You know what? Can I just say something right here, because I think it's a little bit unfair on Cavani too, because those teams that like Ronaldo and Beckham were playing in, like they were just properly drilled. If you look at in terms of attacking football, properly drilled. We know that Ole, during this time, it was drilled for counter-attack, where you're getting maybe one big chance in a game, which is that should never happen at Man United. But hey, that's what happened. Ole almost tried to say football was fine margin, like in totality. It's like maybe it is in some situations, but not like for every game, which is what Ole did. So Cavani suffered from that. Right? I mean, we know he lacked the service a lot of times. And the wingers that were next to him, they were pretty much forwards. Remember Greenwood getting a lot of goals from the wing, Rashford getting a lot of goals from the wing. That takes away from your striker, because you're not feeding it. You're going for goal yourself. So I think Cavani, if he wasn't a Ferguson team, just to play devil's advocate, he would have been bagging a lot of goals. Because I remember at PSG, I mean, he would miss big chances at PSG, but I remember there's a lot of good runs he would make. You just had that striker instinct. That's why I liked him, because he had that instinct to make correct runs. Sometimes you wouldn't score at PSG, but you make them right runs, maybe score on his second or third chance. And at Man United, you get one chance and then you have to score. So he suffered a lot.
True. I mean, the stats for that individual 2021 season, if we just focus on that, 26 Premier League appearances, 10 goals, 3 assists, 3 yellow cards. Europa League, 5 appearances, 6 goals, 3 assists, and 2 yellow cards. 1 goal in the EFL Cup. Those are his sort of stats contribution. Obviously, didn't win a trophy there. So, but yeah, I mean, I would say that, you know, given all the stuff you said, especially with how hard he actually worked, amongst other things, he definitely should be considered at least. He's not the best of United number 7, but considering the number 7s that we'd had until Ronaldo came back, you know, I was almost tempted to say that he was probably been the best United number 7 since Ronaldo, before Ronaldo obviously came back, because I can't think of a number 7 that comes close to what Cavani did, even for that season, than Ronaldo obviously did before he left.
Okay, I mean, I'm just trying to think as well in terms of, because what kind of okay, so you're saying since that. Yeah, my mind's gone blank.
Yeah, you can't. Exactly. That's the thing. You can't think. Like, it's been that bad. It's like, I think that at some point people talking about a curse Like the number 7 shirt was cursed because so many people were getting into it and just didn't know what to do with it at all. You know, I had high hopes for Memphis.
Oh, Memphis,
and Di Maria, and even Alexis Sanchez. You know, but they all flopped.
I was
They
so
all
excited
flopped.
for Memphis, bro. Like what those stats he was putting up in the Dutch league. Obviously, it's a less competitive league, but you know we had the likes of Ruud van Nistelrooy who put up big stats there, and then he came,
Exactly.
he translated nicely. You know, there's certain Dutch players that come across from that league, and they do translate the Dutch football, you know, experience. So in terms of Memphis, I thought we were going to see like dribbling and then goals and assists, and it just seemed like to do a little point on Memphis. Like for me, I think Van Gaal is to blame a little bit because maybe he could have coached him a little bit better. But what I saw from Memphis is he would hug the touchline, and then it was easy for the other team to like double up on him. Every time I would see him doubled up on, and then when that happened, Memphis couldn't adjust. He didn't like maybe come inside and change position. He would always hug the touchline and just get double teamed. That's a bit of what Sancho is doing a little bit too. I don't want to go on a tangent too much, but there's a problem with when wingers come to Man United since Ronaldo. Since Ronaldo, it's like, I mean, we're not talking about Valencia yet. We'll get into him, but yeah, it's just like you said. It seems like there's been a bit of a curse for some of these guys to flop. Maybe they felt the pressure, you know, of the shirt, which is bad. That's really bad. You've got to focus on the game. Easier said than done. But yeah.
No, that's fair, Eddie. Let me quickly get into some comments, and we're going to talk about a certain Frenchman. Let's have a look. Chainsaw says, to be completely honest, trophies matter, so do stats as well. They fear the player on the pitch. Beckham isn't in this convo. Now, best should we discuss time-wise? And we will talk about George Best, actually. We will talk about him. Let's go down. My comp is like really slow. Sorry. SMB says, put into perspective, Madrid changed their tax laws when he signed for Real Madrid. He was a big brand. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
You know, Beckham was one of the sort of Galactico signings where it was all about, you know, and obviously that it's not the same now, but it was all about brand management, and Beckham brought a certain star power to Madrid. Absolutely, I don't disagree with that. Abdul, who's a Barcelona fan, says Ronaldo trying to find a move forwards. Now, I'm not entirely sure what this has to do with this best number 7 conversation, Abdul. But what I would say, Abdul, as a Barcelona fan, is that are Barcelona in the mud currently? That's I think that's a key question, really. Are Barcelona, like, what is Laporte? Look, I was told that Laporte was the truth ever since the previous guy left. And right now, it looks like Barcelona look like they're in the mud. So if you could just let me know about that, Abdul, then I'll answer your question. You know, so just are Barcelona in the mud right now when it comes to transfers? Let me know. Chainsaw says, support RDS on Twitch too. Thanks, buddy. And then Mo says, it was so good they made a movie called Bend It Like Beckham. That's true, actually.
I like that film, man. That was a good film.
That is true. That is true. He must have been so good if they're making a movie about him, actually. Yeah, that brand management, man. Brand management. What's the most important attribute for number 7? Goals and assists, or ability to create spaces and chances for his teammates?
Good question. That's a good question, man. Yeah,
I would say, and this is why I'm finding it difficult, that it's about helping your teammates. I think it's about, like, ideally, like, so therefore assists and creating space. But if you can add goals onto that, that's fine. But if you're just scoring goals, I think it's difficult with Ronaldo because Ronaldo was just such a good goal scorer and won things. So it's almost like he's a separate case. But if you're just scoring goals and the goals aren't that, because like Ronaldo scores in it 14 one season or something like that, something ridiculous like that in one of his seasons. I think that was the 07-08 season. So that's a freak. But in general, if you're saying, all right, I scored like, I don't know, 15, 16 goals and you're number 7 and you didn't assist, I might look at you funny. It's why, like, okay, Ronaldo this season scored 18 goals for United. That's really good. But no one's saying that he had a brilliant season. And it's not just because of how Manchester United are, but because even though he scored, did he really, like, create for the team? Did he really did his contributions on the field really, change or improve the Manchester United squad in terms of what he did? No, he did not. If anything, you can make an argument that it might have hindered them slightly. So yeah, I would definitely go for that. I mean, I don't know what you think, Eddie. What do you think about that?
I mean, I was just trying to think of my logic to it as well. I mean, when you're trying to make space for players, you're ultimately trying to, get chances on goal. So if someone's pitching in with the goals and assists, they're already doing the finished piece of making space and doing all of these things where you're trying to get goals anyway. So it just matters. Like if someone's getting the goals and assists, then it would be up to someone else to be like, making spaces, like doing things for the team where they're not seen as much, like they kind of go under the radar. So like, if, for instance, if you look at people like Fletcher, he would do a lot of running for the team. He'd sacrifice like a lot of his, what do you call it? He would do a lot of like the grunt work, a lot of the donkey work, pardon the term, to make space for people to go and do their thing. Like, remember Ronaldo used to, not goal hang, but he wouldn't track back. All the people would track back for him because when you enter Ronaldo, he's going to either dribble past someone and bang it in, or dribble past someone, cross it for an assist for a goal. So really, it is about the balance. But you're going to take the goals and assists over creating spaces. Because that's what everything leads to, doesn't it?
Fair. Chittensaw says, isn't the number 7 evolved from now to what it was decades ago? In what sense? In what sense? How would you say that it was evolved? Because I don't know many number 7s that are goal scorers. I think so. Number 7s are still, I think, a key when it comes to create space, assists, etc. I don't know many number 7s with football currently that I would say are goal scorers.
Do you know what? Yeah, just to say like a little point on that, like it really depends on the system at the club, right? Because your number can simply just become a number. Like if you look at Liverpool, right? Firmino has the number 9, right? But he's a false 9, and he does a lot of hold up play, so we can get in the wingers, and they turn into the strikers. I forgot what numbers that Salah and Mane were, but it's just really about the system at the club,
Yeah, that's true. Numbers are becoming less irrelevant with a few key exceptions. Like I know, for example, like number 3s and number 5s tend to still be defensive players, and I think number 9 still pretty much means main striker. That's still very much if you're number 9, you're thinking this is a striker. 10, in that winger position. But you're right. It a lot of the time it is dependent on the system. And Matthew, shout out to Matthew, says evening all. Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate it. Big up in the chat. Big up RDS and Eddie, man. Thank you, bro. Samasi also says, I think creating space and chance for your teammates as a number 7. Matthew says best Cantona, Ronaldo, Beckham, Robson. That's an interesting list, I think.
It's a good list. I just wish I saw more of Robson and there was another one.
And George Best as well.
Yeah,
I mean, as far as I'm aware, George Best is the only Manchester United player to have won the Ballon d'Or. As far as I'm aware, so that shows how good of a player that he was rated. Because I can't think of any other Manchester United player that has won the Ballon d'Or aside from George. Oh, sorry, did
I was thinking Ronaldo won it, did he not?
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, sorry, Ronaldo won it as well. Yes, my bad. Sorry, him and Ronaldo won the Ballon d'Or, and and Sir Bobby. This is my British knowledge. Yeah, Sir Bobby Charlton, Ronaldo, and George Best all won the Ballon d'Or for Manchester United. Yeah. Right. Okay. Let's quickly go back to this guy, this Frenchman, man.
Cantona.
Now I don't know how old you are, Eddie, but I was a kid when I saw Big Eric play, and for me, Big Eric was one of the main reasons why I became a Manchester United fan, because
Wow.
he brought a level of like, he was like the first cool footballer. Like before then, like it was because obviously it's still everyone's English, everyone acts a certain way, and drinking culture and all these different sort of things. But Eric was just like there was a reason why he was called the King of Old Trafford. Like he just had swag. He brought French swag to, and even the infamous kick to the player. Like I still defend him to this day. I'm like, you go and do it, man. You know, that mum cussing your mom is like, say that again. He just runs in, just kicks him in. That's the thing. That's why this back in the day when people are talking about like racial abuse, all these things and stuff like that. I'm just like, let them say it. Just allow the players to be able to retaliate. If you're gonna say that to me, cool, fine. I'll kick you in the chest. It is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just
I was actually just thinking about that. I was thinking about that before the stream, and I was like, I don't condone violence, but like if you're taking it to the point where you're offending personal terms, you know, family, racism, you're opening yourself up to retaliation. And there should be some kind of, you know, law where you say, okay, just one kick. You're allowed just one kick for the retaliation. That's it. You can't stomp them when they're on the ground. Yeah. But you can get just a little bit of retaliation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't get it, because at the end of the day, like, you know, you can't on the one hand, like, if you're gonna say something, that you've got to anticipate the consequences for that. You can't just be like, right, okay, I can say whatever it is I want to say, and not end up not knowing what the consequences can be. And at the end of the day, he said some mean crap about someone he cared about. Same thing with Zidane.
Yeah.
And that guy said, I'm like, headbutt him, that's fine. It is what it is, you know what I mean? You know, so but you know, Big Eric, man, like he's just I mean, I'll get his stats up, but it really doesn't tell the full story of Eric Cantona, to be honest. It really oh yeah. Sorry, Dennis Law also won it. Sorry, Dennis Law also won the I think the Ballon d'Or as well, I think. So, geez, Manchester United put in a lot of. I wonder how many Chelsea players. Let me know in the chat, guys. How many Chelsea players have won the Ballon d'Or? How many Chelsea players? Because I'm constantly told that Chelsea and City are big clubs. So please tell me how many Chelsea and City players have won the Ballon d'Or in the comments. It really would go a long way.
I don't think there will be any. I mean, Jorginho didn't win anything, did he? When he was in like the category to win it, I don't. Think
I mean, third place is a trophy, isn't it? You know, it's a trophy. Right, Eric Cantona's stats: 181 appearances for Manchester United, 81 goals, 62 assists, 21 yellow cards. That's obviously go by season.
I didn't know he got so many assists, because like the highlights used to see like a lot of goals.
This is the thing. That's what a lot of people don't recognize Eric. They just think that he was just, and this is where, again, looking at the position, because he was, I don't want to say Cantona was an outright like number 9, say in the way that he played, but I think he was more of a striker, in quotes, than say Beckham and Ronaldo were when they played the respect. Obviously, Ronaldo was a winger. Beckham was more of like an attacking midfielder at times. I think Eric Cantona was more of a. It wasn't a forward, but certainly more of a forward than those two players were. And yet, despite that, he obviously he had a lot of assists for Manchester United. You know, so. And to be honest, if it wasn't for the fact that he got, he obviously had injury issues, and also he got banned for that kicking incident, because when that happened, it was big. People like, he should never play football again. In hindsight, I was like, those guys were smoking crack. Literally, what they should have done, should have said, "I'm sorry, it is what it is. You can continue to play football the following day." That's what people should have done. But you know, people don't really appreciate the amount of assist contributions that Eric Cantona did, to be honest.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I'm saying, man, when I saw the highlights, because Cantona is before my time. I mean, I'm getting a bit old, but Cantona just a little bit before. But I knew, because when I got into football, it was my brother that supported, my older brother supported Man United. And it was like during maybe around 99 is when I was really watching them. So I think that's after the Cantona. But I would see the highlights. And when you were talking about style, like I don't remember anyone else starting to wear the collar on their shirt.
Yes, exactly.
I remember I did that for like when I was in school. I'd wear my polo top and I'd have the collar up, and I always wanted to like just be like him because that's why I was from the highlights I was seeing. I was like, I want to have that kind of swag. And I remember my teachers were saying, you can't have your collar up, man. I don't know why you couldn't have your collar up in school. Like, what was that?
I didn't understand that either. It was almost like you're trying to be like a rebel or something. So, but actually, no, actually,
it doesn't hurt anyone. I'm just styling, and then you get detention for trying to argue about your collar. Like, it was ridiculous. But I was surprised at the amount of assists. Like, really, I've just seen him playing up front when I've seen him play. The strength he would have, you wouldn't want to mess with him. He was eccentric as well, like even like off the pitch, like when you do like certain press conferences, and there was the one where he's talking about the birds following the trawler into the sea. It was like so random when he said that. Like it would be like if you had the quote to bring that up, it's so random, isn't it? And it's like I can't believe this guy was so confident. Like you could just talk a lot of crap.
I mean, he's still like that now. He's still very, very philosophical. He's very much like he's very anti. In fact, let me get some quotes. Eric Cantona quotes. He's very philosophical. Very
abstract in terms of philosophy. If you get the quote.
Here it is. I needed something which was going to excite me as much as football had excited me. When the seagulls follow the trawler, it is because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. The ball is like a woman. She loves to be caressed. Manchester United is stronger than anybody in the world. And just imagine that in a French accent, man.
Yeah, the last bit was good. And I don't know about the trawler.
Yeah. He just actually this is okay. 10 of the most dude, Eric was just arrogant, man. He was arrogant. He was look at some of this stuff. Like this is man, I hate man, there's some pages, but they always have ads and stuff like that. I've got to
then they ask you for like, do you want to consent to the cookies?
No, consent to the ads and stuff. Like, no, please. I just like if I could do that. Okay, that's it. Foreign King, 10 of the best in his colourful career. Let's have a look. Come on, I want to see this. I just want to see his United. After his trip. After his first training. In 2009, well, this is Grotti. It says, I am not a man, I am Cantona. What did he also say? Often there are players who have had only football as a way of expressing themselves and never develop other interests. And when they no longer play football, they no longer do anything. They no longer exist, or rather, they have the sensation of no longer existing. And this was when he was getting very sort of philosophical towards the end of his career, actually. My best moments. I have a lot of good moments, but the one I prefer is when I kick the hooligan. Yeah, let me. Okay, I've got to, Eddie. I've got to show that image. Let me share that in the share screen for those who are watching. For those youngins there who don't know what I'm talking about, and a time when football was not clean as it is now. Like this is what I mean. Hopefully, everyone can see that. That should be coming up now. Ooh, sorry about that.
Yeah, I remember this.
So when we're talking about, so you see, this is Eric here, and this is the fan, and this is his foot going into the guy's chest. That's this is
the agility there. I mean, come on, look at that. That shows he's a real athlete,
I mean, this is we've gone from players doing that to like Neymar rolling around on the field. That's basically where football's gone now. Like, I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying that it is just interesting how we've gone from A to B.
You know what though? Yes, I don't know if you saw when Neymar I forgot what final it was, but I don't know if you won it either. But when you know how all of the ceremonies are like in the crowd now, where you walk up the stairs to get your medal and all that. One of these fans was saying some crap to Neymar, and Neymar gave him a little cheeky slap. I don't know if you saw that. Like Neymar's got a little bit of. I mean, that's obviously different to our karate.
Yeah, of course.
but you know, I mean, he will stand up for himself a little bit with like a little prima donna slap. Put you in your place. Can I read one one
on the comments?
Sorry.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Quote, because there was one he did in 2019 where he was receiving some kind of award. And
yeah. I remember. Go on.
I can't believe what came out of his mouth. So basically, he said, "As flies to 1-ton boys are for the gods, they kill us for sport. Soon, the science will not only be able to slow down the aging of the cells. Soon, the science will fix the cells to the state so we become eternal. Only accidents, crimes, wars will still kill, but unfortunately, crimes, wars will multiply. I love football. Thank you." Did you like my French accent, by the way?
Never change.
I mean, talking about flies, talking about science, talking about wars, and then I love football. It's so abstract, man. Like, it went deep, but it went too deep to the point where you're like, what is going on? I mean, they still clapped for him at the ceremony where he got the award. They were still being polite.
Of course, yeah. I mean, just like in the Will Smith slap, people still clapping. They're like, yeah, I know you slapped him, but we would be polite. We'll still clap. And it's like, well, it's one way of doing it. You know? I don't necessarily agree with it, but it's definitely one way of doing it.
It's because people don't want the awkward silence. Like, sometimes you should just be all right with the awkward silence. Like, if someone deserves that, they should get it. Like, Will Smith should have not got any kind of reception. Like, he's a disgrace, but that's another story. Well, yeah, Cantona is legendary, man. In terms of personality, like you were saying, man, one of these first guys to be like having that swagger, as you said before, man, setting the tone for, because I'm sure a lot of people copied his style, like not just like ripped him off, but like said, okay, I'm gonna have something.
When I was a kid, like, I think someone put the quote out. Yeah, here we go. Mawada, ooh, Cantona. Like, it was literally a song. Ooh, Cantona. Say, ooh, Cantona.
Yeah, I remember that.
Cantona. Bro, that was schools were singing it. He was a cool footballer. He brought that, and this was a time when I think the Premier League started to open itself up to like a lot of more like international players. So, we're used to seeing the English side and so on. So a lot of French players coming, obviously, after Eric Cantona. You had obviously Arsene Wenger and so on now coming into British football and bringing the French way of doing things. So it was very much a different side to Manchester United that we've not seen, and kids just jumped at it. They really did. But just as a footballer go, like, for me, he's in top 3, just because of what and you got to bear in mind that he was the one. I think there's another quote. I think, where is it here? There was someone. Yeah, Matthew says this. Eric was the guy into the class of '92 on the pitch. Exactly.
What I would give for a leader on the pitch for Man United, I mean, no one's anywhere near Cantona in terms of just leadership, let alone skill.
Yeah. if we had a guy like Eric, he just like Eric Keane. It would just yeah. Let me quickly go to a super chat from, I think this is from Yasir. Sorry, bro, couldn't make it today. Been one hell of a day. Big up my brother Eddie and RDS. Thank you, Yasir, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Don't worry, bro. We'll definitely be doing this again. I'm hoping to do more chat, and let me know when you want me to come on your channel as well, buddy. But yeah, no problem, Yasir. No problem at all. Thank you so much for stopping by, man. I appreciate it, buddy. Any final thoughts on Cantona though? I mean, although Factos here says, like, my guy was quoting Shakespeare, in the 2019 speech, King Leo. He was Factos. He was.
So did we go through like what he won as well at Man United?
Yeah, so I've got this. Let's see, he won so 2 FA Cups. Obviously he won 5 Community Shields.
I'm not paying attention to.
You're not going to pay attention to Community Shields.
I don't know if people like it in the chat too, but I'd say just don't read that. But I don't know if you rate it. Do you really rate Community Shields though?
Well, it's a trophy. It's a trophy at the end of the day.
It's one game.
It is, but the thing is that like in other leagues they count it as like people count like the Super Cup and like the like look at the Chelsea fans when they won the Super Cup against Villarreal on penalties. Yeah, we're back. You know what I mean? You know, so it's
okay.
That's,
you know what? So, you put it into another. You know, you cross contextualized it now. So okay, all right, yeah, we'll have it then.
We'll give it exactly. We'll give it. And then he won 4 Premier League titles. So 93. He actually won it he actually won 3 in a row because he won the first one with Leeds in 92, and then we poached him from Leeds. So then he won it with Leeds in 92, but then won in 93 for United, 94 for United. And then
the one for Leeds has got to be -1, obviously, because you know the rival.
That's true, but it's like I can't lie. I did that like, yes, we still stole your player, you know. So I assume in 95 we would have won it. I think 95 was when he got the ban, when he kicked the player. So I think we would have had another league. That if we hadn't got that ban, we would literally be a 21. I think we would have actually had 21 titles, and Liverpool would have to have had 2 more. We would have actually had 21 titles, but it is what it is. Yeah. And then he won 96 and 97. So 4 Premier League titles, 2 FA Cups, and obviously your Community Shields on top of what he achieved. So not as many trophies as Beckham and Ronaldo, but considering the type of player that he was, and the fact that he was banned for the entire season, and the era, can it be underestimated?
I'm not sure. I mean, he's got less trophies, but it's not by that much, is it? Really? If we go, I mean, I've kind of forgotten how many Ronaldo got. Did you say was it 8 or something? But he's close. It's not like it's a big disparity.
And this is a good point. Fargus says assists were counted differently in King Eric's time. He would probably have had about 80 now if they were counted by the standard of today. Now, clarify that for me, because I do think that you're right about that. Whether it was something about the positioning in like the box or something like that. But yeah, Factos, let me know, because I have a feeling that you're right. That if we were to go by today's standards for assists, the likes of Robson and George Best and counters of that would definitely have had a much high assist ratio. So that is a very good point. I had a feeling it's something to do with position, but let me know in the chat, Factos.
Because I thought because I remember Bruno Fernandes getting some assists and literally getting assists for passing it to Rashford, and then he dribbled past 2 players and put it in the net, and he still get assists for that. So. So it must have been in the old day where literally you have to cross it to the guy and he's got to put it straight in the net. Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. I think that maybe it actually had to be a direct goal contribution. It was probably part of the singular phase of play, as opposed to maybe. But yeah, if you're still listening, Factos, I'd appreciate the correction, man. It will help. Chainsaw says, we'll do member gifts, like and subs, artists. Eddie, thank you so much, Chainsaw, for your ongoing support. We'll be doing for those who are aware, me and Chainsaw also do a bit of content on my second channel called Red Marvel. We'll be restarting the podcast again and doing recording a few videos for that. So if you don't know, I have a second channel called Red Marvel where I post entertainment related movie reviews, games, all that stuff. That link is in the description. So if you could head over and subscribe to Red Marvel, that'd be great as well. Anything else, Eric, before we move on to slightly more obscure players?
I think we've done Eric justice. We went through quite a bit there.
Into 2. Yeah. I'm gonna. In fact, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a poll in the chat just quickly. But I think that Now, obviously, this is definitely before our times, but people know about George Best. Have I watched all? Will I confess and say, have I watched everything? Just no, I've not watched like every single clip of George Best. No, I've not. But from the stuff that I have watched, George Best was a technically gifted player. There's a reason why he won the Ballon d'Or, and I wouldn't say it's unfortunate, but I don't. Had he not been born in Northern Ireland, I think had he been English or Italian or German or anything, I think his talents would have been much more appreciated. But because he wasn't able to show that on the world stage, and unfortunately because of his alcohol issues, people weren't really weren't able to give his talents his justice. But from what I've seen, he was technically good. He dribbled, I think, great. I'm getting his stats up as we speak now. But I mean, Eddie, would you say that and obviously he won the Ballon d'Or as well, and he was one of the players to actually obviously win the Champions League at that time for Manchester United as well. So he had a Champions League. He's obviously had a Ballon d'Or. I will get obviously of the trophies on the period. But what would you say about George Best, Eddie?
Like I said, like earlier in the stream, it is a bit before my time, but like you were just going over how you said he was technically sound. I remember like hearing that a lot in terms of his accolades. He was technically sound, good goal scorer. His stats. I was just looking at the stats. I remember like he had some good stats and like 137 goals in 361 appearances. It's standard, one goal every 2 games. It looks like for that. But yeah, because I was hearing of him like in a second-hand kind of thing, where I wasn't really watching him when he was around. Yeah, a lot of the drinking culture. That's what sport is. Reputation ultimately, obviously, sport is health, and ultimately why he passed on. But yeah, on the pitch, I think he was regarded as ahead of his time in terms of having certain skills that were just better than the average guy. No disrespect to the old-fashioned football, a lot of it was more simplistic, and obviously it's going to be like that when there's been less time for you to develop extra things in football. So a lot of people were simple in terms of maybe not dribbling as much, maybe not trying things. Like he would try new things. So he was an innovator of his time. And yeah, do you have the stats on him as well in terms of did you say his trophies?
Yeah, so trophy wise, obviously because Manchester United were not again Ballon d'Or. So I will count the Ballon d'Ors because obviously that's been one of the biggest awards in football. So winning the Ballon d'Or for me already puts you in a different category. He obviously won Champions League, 2 league titles with United, and then one FA Cup. So those are his trophies.
Right.
But obviously, bearing in mind the state of Manchester United back then, and the fact that, so in that context, 300, as you said, this was the first division, so 304 appearances, 125 goals, 2 assists actually. So he wasn't actually a great assister, to be honest. And then the European Cup, 21 games played, 9 goals, 1 assist as well for George Best. Bring up George's quote, says Matthew. I'll see. Let me see if I can find some, because George Best was an interesting character, it said. So, but
I remember him having some appearances on TV where he just clearly drunk on a talk show. Just like I don't know if he was like as abstract as Cantona though. No. I think he'd be a bit more funny.
What's this? It's just see George Best quotes. I can read them out here. Let's see. I spent a lot of money on booze, birds, and fast cars. The rest I just squandered. That's actually quite sad, actually.
Yeah.
Because a lot of footballers did do that.
I think Paul Merson was bad for that as well. I think he would bet. I think he still bets as well. That would be squandering loads of cash, man.
Yeah, it's an addiction, man. I mean, he said that in 1969, I gave up women and alcohol. It was the worst. It was the worst 20 minutes of my life. Bro.
I thought you were about to say like 20 days, 20 minutes.
No, exactly. Yeah, I was like, that's why I was like, I just stopped reading it. I was like, let me come again. It's like in 1969, I gave up women and alcohol. It was the worst 20 minutes of my life. I think also, by the way, guys, I think this I love discussing these with players. I think one, because as I'm going to re-edit it, I'm going to like clip the videos. So I'm going to divide these into segments and upload them separately again, just because of the conversation about these players. And we might almost start to create like player profiles where we discuss and have conversations about certain players and what they did. So, you know, maybe the next week, because if you like this Saturday shows, be great. We might talk about the best, you know, centre backs, defenders, you know, in Manchester United history, and just have these ongoing conversations. Best super subs for Manchester United, for example, best goalkeepers and all that jazz. You know, so if you guys want that, let me know, and then we can obviously expand that going forward.
Do a poll. Put a poll in the chat, man.
Yeah, actually, let me quickly. For some reason, the only way you can do polls is actually through on the desktop, which is a bit annoying because I'm streaming this as well.
You could just do one on Twitter later, then, or something like that, innit?
Let me get this up. 2 seconds. Sorry, everybody. This is going to help when I actually. This is why the super chats and memberships are important, because this is all going towards getting a better, a much better setup here. As I actually, I'm going to be getting some lights, a new desktop, and everything, so I can actually like create a proper studio to create good videos and obviously do more live streams. So that'll be good actually. Oh, Samasa has a quote here. I used to go missing a lot.
Oh, oh, that's really good.
Go missing a lot. Miss Canada, Miss United Kingdom, Miss World. George Best. Guy was a G, man. The guy was a G. You know, it's funny how the further back you go, you just see a lot of these interesting United characters. Like now, number 7s, United players are more sanitized. But the further back you go, the more you're like, geez, these guys. I used to go missing a lot. Miss Canada, Miss United Kingdom, Miss World.
I mean, that's because it's got so many layers to it. I mean, there's the womanizing, there's the womanizing part to it, and then there's just the double entendre of missing, and then talking about Miss Canada, Miss United. It's just a great joke.
That's
funny. But yeah, you're saying more sanitized these new number 7s. How about they're just more crap? That's what I would say. That's a description for these new guys, man.
Says, if I'd been born ugly, you'd never have heard of Pele. Jeez, that is
okay.
Wait, hold on.
Say it again.
He said, if I'd been born ugly, you'd never have heard of Pele.
What, saying Pele's ugly?
I'm trying to understand that quote. Is he trying to say that, like, if he was born ugly, then he'd be regarded as a better footballer? As opposed to over what he... I don't get that.
Nah, it just sounds like disrespect to Pele, you know. I'm thinking because they were compared a bit. I've heard them be compared to like saying who's the best striker. So I reckon he was just, that's just disrespect to Pele. So George Best has gone down a little bit in my review right now.
I mean, what the Miss World, the Miss Canada didn't do it for you. That was just the womanizing.
Yeah, that was good. I was loving that. And then you had to, you know, just one of the great ones. That's just Pele, man. One of the great ones. Come on, have some respect there.
Let me just quickly read a few comments, guys. Oh yeah, I'll put the poll. I'll actually put the poll in the chat. Actually, let's have a quick look. Okay, I'll bring the top 3. Just who you think is the best number 7. I'll put the 4 that we've discussed so far. So that's Best, Beckham, Ronaldo, and forget Cavani. Yeah, Ronaldo, Best, Beckham. There's someone else I've just forgot. Mind blank. What happened?
You said Cantona?
Or Cantona, that's it. Sorry,
Yeah.
Eric. Sorry, Eric, bro. There we go. That's the poll. So just lastly, just before we just move on, I think it might just be worth just to touch on Bryan Robson, just briefly, and for those in the chat. It could be argued that George Best is certainly for that era of football was seen as one of the most technically gifted players in the world, given obviously that fact that he won the Ballon d'Or amongst other things. Does the fact that he was that good in an era where United weren't dominant, you know, because obviously the other players that we talked about were an era when teams where they had Alex Ferguson, they had an era of dominance and invincibility, whereas when George Best bought, that wasn't the case. Does that put his achievements at a slightly higher level compared to the other players that we talked about?
Yeah, I was just about to say that there is a degree of difficulty.
Dud, exactly,
yes.
dud.
You gotta quote the mentality or the philosophy of HH. So there is some dud there, you know, because obviously, like if we take someone that relies on people being good around them, for instance, Pogba, and we've seen how he didn't completely flop, but he didn't win as much as a top World Cup winner should be winning at Man United. So we saw that he couldn't do well amongst, you know, the team not being set up that well to win. So definitely, you have to definitely look at that. He was a great captain. He's someone that was making people play better in terms of giving instructions, just being that leader, because you can always make people play better by having like reading the game. If you can read the game and you can tell people where to go, because he was one of them old-fashioned captains that was like that. You know, you can tell people where to be, give instructions, stuff like that. And then, like we're saying, in a team that wasn't that great, that shows he was a great player. And to win the Ballon d'Or as well during that period, that's immense. It shows how good he is.
No, exactly. Like I said, the poll is out, guys. So remember, guys, if you're watching, please like the vid. It goes a long way. Let me just quickly go over the points. When I'm going to probably round up, we're talking about Robson, and then I'm going to give my top 5. Eddie's going to give your top 5, and then everyone in the chat give your top 5 as well. Let's have a quick look. Factos says George was one of the game's first inside forwards. The guy was ahead of him. That is true. That is very, very true. You know, because he wasn't an outright striker, but he wasn't really a midfield either. Like I don't want to say he spearheaded the idea of an inside forward, but he certainly played that. So that's a good point actually. In terms of legacy. This is a George Best quote, I'm thinking, you know, so this is
or is Matthew Bassett talking about some of his highlights? Matthew, did you used to play? You forgot the quotation marks, bro.
And this is the key. It's like I think George Best was almost like you can compare him to like Zlatan. That's kind of how I think George Best was. Like, he was he more arrogant than Cantona? Probably. I didn't watch him, but probably. And I think just because you could probably get away with a lot more back then in terms of what you could do and say and openly brag about than maybe Cantona could do, and obviously now players could do now. But yeah, he just but the key is he backed it up.
Yeah,
you know, he backed it up. Like I can't stand players who say a lot, but they can't back it up. He wouldn't be able to pull so many women and focus on football. Oh, is this in regard to Pele?
That must be George Best.
Oh, so that's what he's saying. Yeah. So basically, what he's saying is that like because he's good looking, he was able to do obviously what he did, and so if he was ugly, he would have basically just focused on football, and therefore he would have surpassed Pele by being even better. So he's basically admitting that alcohol and women distracted him from actually focusing on football a lot. So, but
the way you put it, though, it just sounds like an insult to Pele. Like he could have just said what you said.
Yeah, and also, are you not telling me that like Pele had women as well, bro? You know what I mean? Like so, like It's not like in Brazil, women were like, "Oh, we don't want to be."
You
Bro,
see,
he had attention, man.
if you take it further, you could say George Best is saying Pele, he didn't have to worry about women because maybe he's ugly.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, so although wait, what did he say? There's these George Best quotes, man. I'm loving reading these. They say I slept with 7 Miss Worlds. I didn't. It was only 4. I didn't turn up for the other 3. Jeez, man.
What a player, eh?
Jesus, guy. Pele called me the greatest footballer in the world. That is the ultimate salute to my life. Fair enough. So it looks like they patch things up. So that's fair.
Yeah, no respect to that, man. He's respecting Pele there. Okay, cool. I'm cool with good old George Best now.
Samasi, is this true? Is this true? I don't believe this is true. If this is true. On Paul Gasson, I once said Gaz's IQ was less than his shirt number, and he asked me, "What's an IQ?" Is this true? I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Because Gaza's footballing IQ was good, but I don't believe that, Samasi. I can't.
It sounds like it could be true, man. Like, because he had his problems off the pitch too, where he had abused a lot of alcohol, and we know how that kills brain cells. So I wouldn't put it past him, because if you look at people like today, like Grealish. Remember when Grealish was interviewed, right? And he said, "What's an encyclopedia?" I can't believe you said that. So I can believe that Gascoigne would say, "What's IQ?" So these footballers, they don't have that knowledge.
No, it's bad. It's bad, bro. On Ronaldo, there have been a few players described as the new George Best over the years, but this is the first time it's been a compliment to me with Ronaldo. Okay, fair enough. No, David Beckham, he cannot kick with his left foot. He cannot head a ball. He cannot tackle, and he doesn't score many goals. Apart from that, he's all right. That's the tick. Maybe he was going to watch this show as like, why are you comparing? So basically, he's like, Ronaldo, I like that comparison. Beckham,
that's the equivalent. That's the equivalent of giving someone like a couple of backhands. Backhand for you can't kick, backhand you can't head the ball, a backhand you don't score many goals, and then a little hug. But apart from that, you're all right. That's just such disrespect.
It seems that he knew that Beckham was overrated, man. So, but
maybe jealous of the branding that were through that.
That's the thing. So I mean, again, it goes back to what I said about doing what you do after football, and the reality is that he's had a lot of money. He didn't because of his addictions. He couldn't think of anything outside of those things. Whereas obviously David Beckham,
yeah, it was focused, wasn't it?
It was focused at least on establishing his legacy, So, and it is what it is, and it's with today. I hope I'm spelling Bryan right, but obviously, honorable mention to Bryan Robson, man. I must confess, I didn't really watch Bryan Robson. It was again slightly before his time, but do I think? I mean, I don't know, because I don't think he was the most technically gifted number 7 in this list. But what I do know is that he contributed a lot to the pre-class of ’92 era for Manchester United Football Club. I mean, let me know in the chat, guys, what you think about Bryan Robson. But I mean, Eddie, did you see much of Bryan Robson? Do you have any thoughts on him, or?
Sorry. I mean, I don't think I can elaborate more on what I've said before about just having that leader, like I was saying before. I won't repeat myself on that again. It's before my time, but I'm just looking at the stats now. Like we were saying, he was part of a team that was, it was before a team that was going to get to, prominence to the top. He was winning 3 FA Cups, 2 league titles, European Cup Winners' Cup, within a team where it was like, winning wasn't the thing. It was kind of building up towards that. So he did well to get those honors in that period where the team wasn't as talented as the Ferguson years, or the later Ferguson years, should I say?
I think he was. I mean, maybe I could be wrong, but the impression I get was that I think that he was probably one of the number 7s at this list that was more of a midfielder, like more of a sort of like a central midfielder. He wasn't an inside forward like George Best. He wasn't a kind of like a support striker such number 9 like Cantona. He wasn't like an outright maybe like Cam type player like Beckham, or a winger like Ronaldo. like I get the impression with Robson that he was more of a traditional midfielder, you know, compared to the other. Now, let me know, people in the chat, if I'm right, but I just think that he was more. And certainly looking at his stats, and from the little that I've seen, I must confess. Where does he had where was it? Sorry, stats. 2 seconds. Yeah.
I'm just trying to do my best 5. I'm struggling a little bit. It's down to
202 appearances, 44 goals, and three assists. I mean, that's not great.
Yeah.
And then obviously in the obviously he played in the first division and the Premier League. But again, like you can't really I don't think you can really. I just think that with Bryan Robson, from what I've seen, like I said, I feel like I'm doing him a disjustice, but to be honest, it's not really a disjustice given the amount of crappy number 7s United have had since Ronaldo. He still surpasses them. But I think that from what I see and what I did, I think that he was just a really good midfielder. And at the end of the day, he did win 2 Premier League titles with Manchester United, an FA Cup, and obviously three League Cups and Community Shields, and 4 Community Shields as well, which is more than a lot of Manchester United number 7s have done. So, but no, do you have anything else to say about that, Eddie?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to do a disservice to Bryan Robson as well, so I think I've said what I can say about him. Just a final point, just to reiterate, he's just one of those old-fashioned captains, you know, because that's what we hear about him. Like I said before, that is that he just knew how to lead, he knew how to have the grit, and actually, you know, play well to the best of his ability. Like, just give the best. And you know, that was a time where it wasn't really like prima donnas. Yes, there was a drinking culture, yeah, but there would be people like him that would just, they give you 110%, man, almost every game.
Looking at the stats again, I was right, because Transfermarkt have like a position, common position marker thing, and I was right. Bryan Robson played mostly as a central midfielder, like with 72 of his appearances. Then he played 28 appearances as a right midfielder, and then 7 appearances as a DM. So that's kind of the caliber of player that we're talking about, where I think that he was a very like an old school traditional, you know, midfielder. Whereas if I just go into George Best here and see where his, you know, common position is, it's actually nice. I didn't actually see that sort of thing. Yeah, so look at George Best, for example, and it's like 118 appearances, he was a left winger. 80 appearances, he was a right winger, and then about 20 appearances, he was a centre forward. So that's, I think, where it's difficult to judge Bryan Robson differently, because I think out of all the players we talked about, he was much more of a traditional centre midfielder, at times even a DM, as opposed to. But to be honest, given the United squad right now, maybe you need a Bryan Robson type player. Maybe you need a player who can play centre midfield and then drop into DM. Because I think if we're talking about, and then maybe that's a question that we should have. What are these players? Because what are these players would you like at United? Because I'm looking and thinking, United definitely need a Cantona, and they definitely need a Bryan Robson, someone who can play that central midfield position but can drop in as a DM, almost like a Cant, like and do that. So you think that we probably do need those. Whereas George Best, we have enough kind of inside forwards, so I don't really think we would need him right now. But certainly,
but come on, though. Come on, you're picking Rashford over George.
Oh no, no. Rashford is a special case.
I'm getting rid of Martial. I'm getting rid of Rashford and getting George Best back in. That's what I'm doing. If I could do that,
we do need to do, and I haven't done a show on it. We do need to do the best United 11 of all time, including subs and stuff like that. That is going to be a show. We're going to get quite a few people on. So, yeah, we definitely need to have that. Right, let's begin. I'll get comments and make sure if you want to get some questions in, guys, we begin to round things up. But Eddie, have you thought about already what you think that your top five in a particular order? Who's your top five? Or have you been thinking about it?
I've been thinking, and I'm like, the thing is, like, the guys that we've discussed, like, there's at least two of them where I've only like had like a lot of secondhand knowledge about them, where in terms of Robson and Best. So my top five is going to be based on just what I've been exposed to, yeah, and just a bit of like just style preference as well. So everyone in the comments, you know, you can
Eddie, let me address this. Trent has more talent on his right toe than Beer Belly Best. Chainsaw, wash your mouth out with soap, man. Wash your mouth out with soap. Wash your does Trent have a Ballon d'Or? That's the question I'm asking today. That's Trent.
That was maybe worthy of a timeout, Chainsaw. You know,
but I can't because you're my moderator. You're my moderator. I can't time you out. You know, so but I'm just saying. But you gotta be a bit careful, Chainsaw. You gotta be a bit careful. We still need get CR7 and Messi's in this era. Look at Neymar. Talent and attitude only takes you so far. That is true. Where else? Score comments. Factos. Robbo was the best English player of his generation. Many believe if he wasn't injured in the World Cup '86, Maradona wouldn't have scored that iconic goal against England '86. And that's fair enough. It's difficult to do with what ifs. But you know, Bryan Robson's time was definitely very. That's the thing. I'm not debating Bryan Robson's talent at that time. It's difficult. One, because obviously both of us haven't really watched him, although I have watched highlights. And two, I think where football is now, it doesn't almost appreciate that type of player really, because obviously the number sevens on our list, you know, had goal contributions, had goals, had an attitude, had a personality. They made the number seven their own. And Bryan Robson was not, I guess, really that. So, but he's definitely ahead of a lot of other number sevens that won that top. But yeah, Eddie, top five, buddy. Top five.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I was saying before, it's a bit of a challenge, isn't it? Because I'm trying to weigh up like the amount of trophies. And then weighing up the attributes that they have, longevity at Man United. I have written down versatility, which Robson is ticking that box right now, being able to play different positions. I really rate that for certain players that can do that, because it means when you have injuries, you can just push a versatile player to certain positions. You know, it just shows that, you know, they've got more to their skill set, which obviously should push them up in terms of attributes. But okay, like I said, I'm going to go with who I've been exposed to more and who I like in terms of style, and then their success with cups will come into it a little bit. So number one, damn, it was a toss up between two players for number one.
Oh no! Start with your fifth choice.
Of course. Yeah, I got to keep people in suspense, isn't it? And this is just down to not being able to watch it enough, you know. So it's Robson in there, right? Because for me, we've talked about number sevens that have been like effective in front of goal and in terms of assisting, like goal involvements. Like there's been that's been the standard that I've seen us discuss, is people's effectiveness in terms of contributing to for goals. Because the standard number seven now is like as a winger. It's not really like defensive mid and the other positions you said that Bryan Robson filled in. So, and I think he's got the least cups out of the guys we've discussed as well. So, and then like we're saying, it was a degree of difficulty because the team wasn't that great. So, yeah, I reckon it's a bit of a tax on the team that he was in. So he's number 5 with Robson. Number 4 is you know, I'm apologizing to people that I've seen Best, but Best number 4. In terms of longevity, I mean, he's got 9 cups. It's pretty good. I would say that
and a Ballon d'Or.
Ballon d'Or.
The
Actually,
thing,
forgot
the
about
Ballon
that.
d'Or. This is the thing with best is like the Ballon d'Or, because the Ballon d'Or, like only Ronaldo and Best have the Ballon d'Or on this list. And for me, because the Ballon d'Or, the Ballon d'Or, the way I
Wait,
see it is that
sorry,
this is saying
who has the Ballon d'Ors again?
Ronaldo in this list as number 7, Ronaldo and Best.
Okay.
So because the Ballon d'Or, what the Ballon d'Or tells me is that you are the best footballer in world football. That's what the Ballon d'Or tells me. It's not just that, oh yeah, you won a team your trophy, etc. It's that the world has acknowledged that you are the best footballer on the planet right now. So
Yeah.
it just adds. That's why it's like, yeah, okay, he didn't win as many Premier League titles as some of the other teams, but then when you take into account his team, the lack of United dominance, and despite all of that, you still got a Ballon d'Or.
Yeah.
It's difficult. It's difficult. It's difficult.
I'll say this. Yeah, that is good. But another thing I was going to go on to is there's going to be a bit of tax for his drinking. I'm sorry, but it does filter in. It does filter. I mean,
Yeah.
you can say that's off the pitch.
And his women.
Obviously, that crept into taking away from the amount of years he could have played at top level. That had to affect him. A drink just messes up your liver. You don't have a liver. You're not going to be playing too much great football. You know. So as well as that, he compromised his health, and then the example is a bad example as well for a footballer. So I reckon we've got to count that. We've got to count that. Okay, his personality. You know, some of them quotes. I mean, yeah, he's got some personality in terms of his attributes as well, if you want to look at that. But yeah, I think the drinking culture thing takes him down a bit. Ballon d'Or is good, but yeah, he had some a bit of drawbacks. So he's my number 4.
Okay.
Number 3. Number 3, I'm going for Cantona. I'm going for Cantona.
Okay.
He's got okay. It's good. I'll put this down to because he's got that. He got less cups as well. Less cups than the other 2 that are in my top 2. In terms of his gameplay, I mean, he's got. Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to remember everything, so bear with me. This is hard. This is a hard one. He had, like you said, he had a lot of assists, which I didn't know about, which makes him very good to the team, not just a goal scorer. But I think I put it down to having less cups, right? Less cups, and yeah, I think it's less seasons. I don't know if he's played the same amount of seasons as Ronaldo, though. I'm not sure. But that could be a bit of a tax, is the lack of longevity.
He played, I think, more or less the same number of seasons. Maybe he played an additional one, but it's just, yeah, I think it's more or less the same, because he obviously had that year out because of the kick ban,
right?
Which to me gives him extra points, in my personal opinion. You know, so like you know, it just kicking that fan that deserved it. It's just like, yeah, you'd be a G, but it is.
Right. Okay, I'll move it on because I don't want to drag on too much. So, can I have 2 players for my number 1? I can't pick between.
You can't, Eddie. You can't, Eddie. You can't. You can't, Eddie. You can't. You got to make a decision. You got to make a decision.
Oh man. You know what? Okay, this is the hill that I'm gonna die on. Like, because someone may be tracking everything I'm saying, I may be making some contradictions, but there's so many things to look through. Like I said, attributes, longevity, trophies, versatility, all of these things. So, you know what? Longevity takes. No, well, yeah, longevity makes Beckham my number 1, and then I'm going to go through Ronaldo now as my number 2. So Ronaldo, bless you.
Thank you.
Ronaldo did well in terms of having like a lot of skill. He's faster, you know, more tricks, things like that. But his longevity is not as much as Beckham. Beckham was there his whole career. Beckham with, you know, the most amount of free kicks, very technical.
Our lists are so different, but
is it? Like I said, the most cups as well. I think Beckham off the pitch as well in terms of his brand recognition. Yes, Ronaldo probably bigger, but still, Beckham was one of the first guys to really make a success of the brand off the pitch. So the main thing is it comes down to the amount of cups he was winning, the amount of longevity, the commitment. This is my opinion, right? Ronaldo, for me, when he went to Real Madrid, he soured the reputation for me because he could have given us more years, but he went to his dream club. Beckham number 1, Ronaldo number 2, Cantona 3, Best 4, and Robson 5.
Wow. Okay. I mean, our lists are completely different. I'm not gonna lie. But it's also tough as well. Before I get into it, though, just reading a few comments. So look. Chainsaw says CR7, Eric, Best, Robson, and Bex. Samasi says CR7, Cantona, Best, Robson, and then Bex. So no one with Bex really. Everyone says Bex is 5th. Kenny versus Best, who wins? That can be a versus battle actually. We can do a versus. Because we did a Pep Guardiola versus thing. So maybe that's a good versus debate actually. George Best versus Kenny Dalglish, who wins? Like retro, old school, retro football battles. Actually, yeah, I think that might. Because I don't see a lot of that around YouTube, obviously because people haven't watched them, but it might be worth actually doing that, like a retro versus battle, like looking at the past and looking at some of those players. So if you like that, guys, let me know, and maybe I can get someone on, and we can do something like that. Because I think that might be people might like that,
I reckon Paddy, obviously he had Paddy on before. He'd know about that kind of because
he's older.
Yeah. I was thinking of the right word. I couldn't think of it. I was like, he's
Someone says Eddie is drunk. Beck's number 1. That's what Samasi is saying. That it's just that like Eddie must be drunk if he's
I only had one beer. I'm not drunk.
Sui MC says Best by a mile, a true maverick versus a guy who's a Ballon d'Or year included ruining EPL dopes like Nicky Hunt, Tony Hibbert, and Titus Bramble, etc. Moves to Spain and his offsides and dribbles plummets. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna go into my top five right now. I'll see. Oh wait, Chain says RDS. Look at my best comment. What was your best comment? Best did say Kenny Dalglish is the most complete player he has ever seen. Another Liverpool win. IMO. That is true. I mean, you can't hate on Dalglish at that time. I can't hate that. But you also have to look at Dud as well, Chainsaw. That's the key thing here. And then super chat from Factos. Thank you so much, buddy. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Like it goes a long way for the channel. Great show, guys. My top 3 are Best, Cantona, and CR7. The fact that we still sing the songs of Trevor says it all. These guys will forever be immortal. I don't disagree with that at all, man. They made a difference. So I'll give my particular, and my 5 is based. It is based on my personal opinion, but it is also based on it's based on facts. It's also based on my personal feelings. So I'll just put that out there, just in case people thinking what's going on. So my number 5 is Beckham, because I love him, I do, but it's interesting. But at the end of the day, and he was talented. But at the end of the day, I sort of agree some with Best comments. He was a brilliant free kick taker, certainly the best free kick taker and everyone on the list. But to be honest, outside of that, at times he was quite, I don't want to say he's a limited footballer, but at times he was, a limited footballer. Had a great, obviously, right foot, but he couldn't use his left foot. And we saw even at Rome when he went to actually Real Madrid that he struggled. And let's not take into account that, unfortunately, because of his now growing superstar status, he did start to think he was better than the club, and obviously had a clash with Ferguson. That doesn't mean that I don't appreciate what Beckham achieved, especially with the sheer amount of assists that he got for the club. But I just think that outside of that, I just think that he was quite a limited football player. in terms of like, for example, I don't really think that he wasn't technically crap, but I wouldn't say that he was technically gifted either. So I would put Beckham in my fifth. Although that is saying a lot given number sevens. So if I go on,
the crossing and passing coming to that technical thing, he had that. For me, I'm really I'm disappointed that loads of people have got back to number 5 and I had number 1. This is awful.
I'm older than you as well, so I have a bit of experience with looking at those players, But I see your point, Eddie. I see your point. Chainsaw's great show indeed. Here's some love for new equipment. Thank you so much, Chainsaw. Thanks so much. This is all going to equipment fund, man. If we can get to 5K subscribers by the end of the year as well, that would be great. I'm setting a big target. If we can get to 5K, that would be great. But who knows? Maybe 4K at least. Come on, help old man G out. Hey there, shout out to Devils and shout out to Maisie. Hope you're doing well. And it'd be great to have you back on the channel again, Maisie, if you're watching. We need to do a collab. I want to try and maybe do these like weekly weekly shows, and then also try and do some interviews with other YouTubers from other creators. For those who are actually watching, tomorrow, we're gonna have the We Talk Ajax guys coming onto the show to basically discuss Ten Hag and what to expect from Ten Hag. Just an in-depth to sort of what United fans should expect from Ten Hag, basically. So stay tuned. Make sure you hit that notification button to notify when we go live. That's going to be an interesting treat where we discuss really Ten Hag and what he's going to bring to you. Because I don't think a lot of people are aware about Ten Hag still. So that'll be good. She also says, I would say that best is best for what he has done for the club post Munich. Then can start for him helping us achieve the PL. That is very, very important, because the United team was decimated post Munich, and he did do a lot. He did do a lot for him, as obviously did Sir Bobby, who obviously was the only one to survive that crash. I don't even know. I'm still like, I don't know how just for Sir Bobby, man, like to be the only one to survive and walk away, and it's just like.
Yeah, I mean, that's not even factored into my list, because that talk about degree of difficulty for that kind of situation, the amount of trauma you got to recover from. So that's exactly a very good point from Maisie right there.
Yes, yeah, that's a fair point, man. And to be honest, I don't think a lot of modern players could really deal with that. No disrespect to modern players, but like I just think that, whether rightly or wrongly, I just think that the mentality that the modern players have, they don't necessarily have that. So if certain trauma like that happens, they wouldn't be able to deal with it in the same way.
Yeah.
So anyway, 5 for me is Beckham. 4 is Robson, because like I said, your versatility argument was a very, very good argument. In that, like, Bryan Robson is probably the only central midfielder in this list, but it was very, very talented. And more importantly, the versatility that he had for Manchester United at the time, the fact that he could play a DM, the fact that left wing was really, really crucial. So I think that, on top of that, like, he was good with both feet. I just think that, because I was debating whether it would be Beckham or Robson, but for me personally, I prefer a slightly more versatile player than a player that is gifted in one particular area. So yes, Beckham could cross and Beckham could take free kicks, but could you rely on Beckham to play a deeper position, a more advanced position, and play that position well? I don't think so. And in a team, you want the most like I said, if you take Bryan Robson now, we need like a Beckham, a free kick special would be good at Manchester United. But if we're honest right now, a versatile player like Bryan Robson is desperately needed. We desperately need a versatile. That just shows you how important that position is. Because if we had someone like Bryan Robson now, I already think that Manchester United are much better team. Because he can play he can potentially play a bit forward as a cam. He can play as a holding midfielder. He can play DM, and suddenly our team is better.
Yeah.
Bruno. Beckham. Beckham would be, in my opinion, like almost like a better, potentially a better Bruno, like a much better Bruno. But I think that's what you necessarily need?
Sorry, girl. Come on. That's
Okay,
not Bruno and
okay,
Beckham.
he's far better than Bruno. He is far better than Bruno. I've said that, but I'm just meaning in terms of the versatility aspect, where like Bruno is, Bruno is also quite a limited footballer. Bruno isn't going to be able to play a holding role, and to be honest, even as a central midfielder, he's not great. If that makes any sense. So that's why I have Bryan Robson as fourth. Now, top three is difficult, man. Top three is very, very difficult. Top three is difficult, man. And people are gonna hate me for doing this because I defend, because I go for this guy all the time. I really, really do. But I also have to factor in dud, and I also have to factor in the count. And maybe it's my age or whatever. I'm gonna put Ronaldo number 3.
Oh,
I'm gonna put Ronaldo number 3, guys. I'm gonna put people. You think you're Ronaldo? No, I'm gonna put Ronaldo number 3. Because yes, he had that, I think, 40 goal a season. But the things that I would say for Ronaldo are, again, brilliant goal scorer for Manchester United, but that lack of assists, that number compared to, say, the Becks and even Cantona, shows, Ronaldo. I love Ronaldo. He's great, but he wasn't really a outright team player. And what you said, Eddie, was true in the fact that we needed Ronaldo to stay. We needed him to stay. And the fact that he went to Madrid, I think, left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth. Obviously, he's come back, and he's done brilliant things. But you can even almost see, because I'm judging Ronaldo in his entirety at United. So even if we look at this stint, you can already see the fact that Ronaldo, has Ronaldo's presence enhanced the team? I don't think so. Obviously,
it's a different Ronaldo coming back, isn't it? A limited Ronaldo.
It is. It's limited Ronaldo, but like I said, it's telling that when he was at Manchester United, his team contributions, as it were, especially as a wing, because he was a winger. He wasn't number 9. As a number 9, I'd go, okay, fair enough, goals. But he was a winger, and as a winger, the fact that you didn't really have that many assists, despite that, as a winger, that's something to kind of think about, because like that was your position. You had Rooney, you had I think I don't think he played with Van Nistelrooy. He might have overchanged
for a little bit.
For a little bit.
Nistelrooy did not get on with him, and
exactly.
Alex just got rid of Van Nistelrooy because he knew Ronaldo was the next guy.
Exactly. So I think that element for me, like, yes, it's about what the individual could achieve, but also it is about what they've done for for the team. And I think Ronaldo's lack of team working, let's put it that way, I think hinders him in that respect, on top of obviously the how he departed. But still a brilliant footballer. And it says CR7 has 37 assists for the short time he was there in comparison. Yeah, so like 37 assists, but he was there. If that's his total, he was there for what?
Was it 265 appearances? I think it was said.
Yeah, before. And he was there for 5 or 6 seasons. 37 assists is not that great, given that you are a winger position. So he's third for me. Although I love the guy and I'll defend him to death. This is a high tier list. Devils United story says Bryan Robson doesn't shout yes. Takes a strong character to wear that 7 shirt, which we didn't see after CR7 first reign at Manchester United. That is true. And Ross,
you know what? Yeah, I've got to say, special shout out to Valencia. I think we've done him injustice to not mention him, because I think he did. Obviously, he didn't fill Ronaldo's boots. He didn't fill Ronaldo's boots, but he had a lot of work ethic, and we still won leagues with him. I'm sure it was at least 2 we won since Ronaldo. So and he's versatile as well. Could play right back. So he was a hard worker. You know, I think we're disrespected. We disrespected Valencia, RDS. I think we did.
He definitely isn't going to go in the worst number sevens show that we're talking
Good.
about. Not at all. But the variety was there. Looking at the poll, actually, 60% of you guys, 20 votes, 60% of you said Ronaldo, and about 20% said Best and Cantona, and no one said Beckham, Eddie. So it looks like you're
wow
in the minority there. So my second choice, man, and this is where it gets difficult, and it's between is it personal or not, and it's difficult. It's difficult between these two, for what they achieved, and especially after what Maisie said just now about George Best. But I'm gonna be real. I'm just gonna go. I'm a fan from boy, whatever. Best for me get is second. Best for me is second. I don't want to repeat myself, but it's self-explanatory for what he achieved in that limited time. You know, the guy was basically the first maverick of football of Manchester United. Really talented. Ballon d'Or obviously winner, so the world knew it. Unfortunately, obviously, his alcohol use really derailed his career, and he wasn't 100% focused on the game. But the guy was incredibly talented, and obviously, to come out of that era post Munich, he really did a lot to put Manchester United back on the football map, and there's a strong mentality there. So, best for me is second, but it's Cantona. And yes, part of that is because like he got me to be a Manchester United supporter, so there is personal bias there. I did warn you guys, there's that. But you know, Cantona, man. Cantona, for me, Cantona had everything that I wanted in a footballer. You know, he had style, he had panache, he had passion, and the fact that like he was a support striker at number 9, but the amount of assists that he actually provided for his teammates as well, it's impressive. You know, so even though yes, he didn't win the Champions League, he didn't win the Ballon d'Or, though he won like league titles. You know, what he did for that team and what happened when he was out of the team, obviously during that ban. The guy made Manchester United. He was one of the superstars of Manchester, the first superstars of the Premier League era. And if we're talking about why the Premier League is the biggest club it is in terms of marketing, when Cantona was one of those players that started that. Like you tuned in to watch Cantona do his thing. Hence the Cantona celebration or what have you.
Yeah.
It just is what it is, you know. So yeah. For me, I know it's a fond memory, you know, but for what he was as a player, and on top of that, you know, mentoring the class of '92, who would then obviously go on and achieve what they wanted to achieve. That's how they knew what it meant to play for Manchester United, because they had players like Cantona, like Robson, and so forth to really show them the way, and be leaders and icons for them to go forward. And that's why that's part of the reason why they were so successful, as opposed to now where the leaders of Manchester United, they don't exist. So for me, shout out to Big Eric, man. Shout out to Big Eric. He's my number one. Eric, Best, CR7, Robson, and then Beckham. That is my top 5, guys. Let me know if you agree or disagree.
I was going to say, I do like your list, just apart from like Ronaldo third. You know, he's got to have one of those top 2 positions. But you know, you made some good points. So everything you were saying, I was like, yep, that makes sense. That makes sense. Now a lot of my list was just influenced by like trophies at the end of the day, because I was like, there's so much to consider, so many different things going on, and it was just like, it was very hard, very big challenge to do this.
I mean that's the level that we're talking about, a very high level here, because when we go and talk about our worst performances, you know, there are a lot more worse United number 7s than best ones, you know, and the fact that we're talking about three of these players that were like in the 2 weren't even in the Premier League era, really. Well, Bryan Robson was early beginning, and 3 of these players were before the year 2000. You know, well, 4 if you include Beck's in '98. So really, Ronaldo is the only post 2000 number 7 that we're talking about that gets into the top 5, which just goes to show you how bad Manchester United have been in that sense. You know, post 2000.
Been awful. It's just like it's been good to discuss these classic players. You know, it's like for this 2 hours we've been doing this. Like it's been good to get away from the current dross that is at Man
Yes.
United. You know, we're talking about the standard that should be adhered to. You know,
Yes.
When you make yourself the best legacy team, there should still be a standard now. And it's just. Oh man, I'm not liking the prospect of coming off the stream and just thinking about the real Man United that's currently playing right now again, because so far away from the Robsons and Beckhams and Ronaldo. I mean, Ronaldo's there, but it's like we said, old Ronaldo, isn't it? It's not the same.
Factos, ask this question and we're going to bounce. Do you guys think Sancho's the heir to the 7 throne? He's definitely got the flair.
What do you think?
I go by what you said earlier in the stream, that I'm a little bit worried that Sancho might be another Memphis in terms of how he's playing. I hope that's not the case. But there is a Bundesliga tax right now. And I'll see what Ten Hag will do, and hopefully he'll improve him. But I'm a little bit worried. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit worried that this might be another Memphis situation. And the only reason why we're, but it was his first season, so I don't want to completely judge.
Yeah.
But I'd be lying if I wasn't a little bit worried.
I gotta say, I completely agree with what you're saying, but maybe, confidence may be a part of it to the point where, as he gets the what do you call it, the lessons from Ten Hag, maybe the confidence goes up as well. Because I want to see, as well as link-up play, I want to see dribbling. I think we've all been starved as fans for people that can dribble. Who dribbles RDS? I can't.
Wait. What's this? Ronaldo to Chelsea? I'm seeing this emergency hangout. Let me see this.
That sounds like hype, bro.
Well, HH has done an emergency hangout. He doesn't usually do those emergency hangouts unless it's like, let me know in the chat, guys, because I heard rumors about it, but it was like, oh yeah, it's just one of those sorts of things. But the fact that HH is doing an emergency hangout, to me, tells me that there's more to the story, unless they're just speculating.
Are you going to get on?
I might later, but I just want to just verify it, because let me just see if this is, because like I said, usually they don't do emergency hangouts unless see what Fabrizio said. If Fabrizio hasn't tweeted about it, I'm not interested. But I'll just have a quick look.
Bro, I think there's so much clickbait.
It's doing the rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. That's why transfer window's still long. Things can change, but Manchester United are clear on Cristiano Ronaldo. He's considered not for sale. No talks now ongoing to sell him. Manchester United and Eric Ten both want Cristiano to say and expect him to be part of the team. So that's what Fabrizio said half an hour ago, and that is that. So I don't really. That's the way that I see it. It's like,
I don't see Chelsea wanted him though. I don't see how he fits into the.
I think it's you've got to think it's Todd B though. It's Americans now, isn't it? It's all about branding. It's not about how you fit in or all the rest of it. It's about branding. It's about sales. It's about money. That's the American. We're not talking about the Abramovich era here. We're talking about the American era. And in the American era, with a few exceptions, it's all about branding. It's all about shirt sales. Just imagine you spent how many billion on the club. We need a superstar signing. And also you're thinking about America as well. That's why it's like, yeah, under Abramovich, no. But under Todd B, oh yeah, of course. It's marketing, isn't it?
Bro, I'm just wondering where the English millionaires are, because they're just allowing this football game to be taken over by people that don't really support football. Apart from the Saudis, who they seem like they're actual fans. But some Americans, in it. Obviously Liverpool's Americans are all right, but the Americans at other clubs, obviously like Man United, just branded. It's gonna kill the beautiful game. It's killing it at the moment, I'd say. Still, but, yeah, it's like these English millionaires need to come out and buy these clubs, man. Make it about football again.
Yeah, I wish, bro. Guys, Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate going 2 hours, man. But I really enjoyed the show and hope you guys did as well. Eddie, please shout out your channel and socials again, just so people know.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me on again, man. It's been like a nice discussion, man. Just going in, you know what I mean? You allowed us to go through all the points, man. It's in depth, just like your other stream with Don Smoke, man. Your content, man, you're allowing some good in-depth content. But yeah, you can find me at Eddie's Football Waffle. And yeah, I just do like, I do commentary on football. I try to add a little bit of comedy to it. I've got a video that's based on the Glazers taking out dividends and, you know, all that rubbish that they're doing, even though Man United have been in their worst kind of period that they've been in, like Premier League history. But yeah, just catch me on YouTube, Eddie's Football Waffle. And first and foremost, hit a like and subscribe for RDS, because like he said, he's got the content coming through, all of the versus debates. Yo, man, that's some good content coming through. So yeah, thanks again. Big up to you, RDS.
Thanks it. Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate yourself. Like I said, tomorrow we've got a show with the We Talk Ajax, who will really talking about Ten Hag. And I'll be posting, check the community tab. I'll be posting what we'll be doing this week. We'll be trying to do these types of shows, a few verses, a few conversations like this, getting obviously channel regulars on. I'll be posting a few polls, seeing what we want to debate. So, for example, maybe next week we'll talk about, me and Eddie might talk about the worst United number sevens, or maybe you might want to do another best situation and talk about the best United defenders in the United era. Let us know. Or if you want to just have a general football conversation, you know, and let us know. And now says sub Daddy mate. Oh, there you go, buddy. So another subscriber, man. So that's pretty good, man. Right. Thank you guys for watching. Have a nice day, everyone. And cheers.